hear you, Josh.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
All right.
That's never happened before.
Like, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this crazy world of cybersecurity. We're happy to have you here. And welcome to Criticality Live, presented by our partner, Secure Nation, the show where we cut through the noise, challenge assumptions, and talk honestly about cybersecurity because we are cyber unfiltered. Kayla, what happened to the shirt you had on this morning? That is a much better shirt.
Oh, well, I didn't think it was like podcast appropriate.
I mean, totally podcast appropriate. Like, who are you on the podcast with? Of course, it's appropriate.
I know, but just out into the universe, so.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in cybersecurity this week, but I'm super interested. Uh, don't you have something that was like super big that just happened yesterday?
Yes, we had our official launch for Williams Rose AI Cyber Advisory, and I could not be more excited. The reaction has been just absolutely incredible, over the top, unexpected. Um, like I feel so humbled and like so grateful, and it's been a great reception to Olivia and I coming together and launching this business. So yeah,
I'm so stoked for you. Happy
thank
to
you.
to support you guys any way I can. Totally a cool thing. And then with the stuff that's going on all over cybersecurity right now, it's a perfect launch into that kind of space. Um, so with that, that kind of ties into who we have lined up because our guest is indeed your business partner. So kind of to set the stage a little bit, some cybersecurity leaders manage risk. Olivia Rose walks into the blast radius, takes command, and completely rewrites the playbook. She's an award-winning former CISO, global security builder, executive advisor, mentor, and now a force at the intersection of cybersecurity, AI, governance, and business. She doesn't defend the status quo. If not, she wouldn't be on this show. She challenges it, rebuilds it, and makes it stronger. So, Criticality Live, be prepared for some serious impact as we welcome Kayla's partner in crime, well, her other partner in crime, and the powerhouse, Olivia Rose.
That was a great intro. Just blow stuff up, essentially. Hi, everyone.
Thank you for being here, Olivia. It is quite the week for us. We've got this launch and our baby we've been working on, and yeah, Josh, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it here with everybody, and bounce ideas off of the group, or if anyone has any questions in the chat, they can ask them as well as we're going along.
Baby, it's more like a teenager at this point.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
Josh, essentially what happened was we got together in March, and then I think it was April, we started getting clients, and so we completely forgot to launch, and it was on our task list. And every week we would say we really seriously need to launch, but we don't have time. And then a couple of weeks ago we just said, okay, this is a date, we're going to do this, and that's what we did.
I mean, that's a good problem to have so much work that you forget to launch.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did that series of run-up posts, and it was funny because we finally fixed up our LinkedIn pages. And so I think people got an idea of what we were about to launch on yesterday. But it's just funny how it came around in a rush towards the end just recently. But yes, as Kayla said, the response has been amazing and just incredible. And especially, I'll end with this, what I really, really love, because it's a cause near and dear to my heart, and I know it's near and dear to Kayla's heart as well, is young women are seeing the power of opinionated, strong, successful, outspoken women with experience getting together to do something really awesome. And I just love the response to the emails that I've gotten about that.
That's completely awesome. So obviously we want to talk about, your company, but how did you get to this point? How do you go from being a CISO at, major companies and keynote speaking along with Kayla to going, you know what? We're going to found our own company.
Is that to me? Because Kayla may have a different,
Oh, go
version.
for it. The audience is sick of hearing me speak. You go for it.
See, Kayla's the smart one. That's what I say all the time. So a few years ago, I was on a panel at some breakfast event, and I was rushing out the door to get to the airport, but Kayla stopped me. And the one thing I remember vividly about Kayla was her drive and her dedication to being wildly successful. Like, it was just there. It was that rawness. And I love that in people. It's like, I will do anything it takes legally to be, yeah, okay, what is it? But I will do anything personally, legally, to be wildly successful.
Yeah.
And I love that in people. So that always kept with me about Kayla. And then we kind of communicated because, when you're a woman CISO in this industry, you all kind of know each other. So there was kind of odd communication every now and then. And then in February of this year, I woke up one day and I said, I got to do something about this AI thing. I want to I need to start a company to transform AI initiatives. And I was like, I need a partner in crime, someone who is really, really good at this stuff, who's good at all the areas that I'm not strong at. And then Kayla and I looked it up. It was in December. We're like, oh, we should get together and talk, catch up, blah, blah, blah. And so we finally did in February or March, whatever it was. And it was like, bam. It was like, you're the one, you're the smart one, the brains I've been looking for. And good morning, everyone who is posting. You're the one, you're the brains I've been looking for, the ones I need. So we're like, okay, we'll give it a shot. We'll just go with it. And as I said before, we hit the ground running. I mean, it's been great.
I mean, I can totally empathize. Kayla's a smart one. I'm just a pretty beard, and that's about it.
I know.
Gee, guys, thanks.
She's the smart one.
I feel really awkward. I don't do well with compliments, guys. So thank you.
So you and everybody else in cybersecurity is awkward with compliments.
It is, yeah. But I think it's really important for people to know that when we got together, when we first met each other, that's exactly what it was like a flyby interaction, but it stuck out. So you never know who you meet and those conversations that you have with people and how they stand out. Because I really remember, Olivia, there was one of those CISO group things that we were in, your contributions there and some of the comments that you were having mattered to me, as a woman CISO, because you're putting a different spin on some of the commentary coming back that people were like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. And not just about where to go for bourbon and blazers and things like that, but it was like, oh, well, what if you come out with it from this perspective? Because I was looking at something the same way you did, but I didn't have the guts to stand up and say it, but you put it out there and they were like, oh my God, yeah, I didn't even think about that perspective. And just having this dynamic is very different for a lot of people to see two women in cybersecurity starting a business like this in cybersecurity is very male dominated anyway, but then you look at the AI piece and the influencers that are there that are, doing things on YouTube or, doing their thought leadership on LinkedIn, it's been mostly men. So adding, the female voice to that equation does bring a different seat to the table for us. And I just think I've gotten the same response you probably have as well in messages and texts from people, from women being like, oh my God. Like, so.
And men too. Holy
Yeah.
moly. I mean,
Yeah.
men love it. I mean, especially girl dads. Shout out to girl dads. I love girl dads. I think they're going to change. Are you a girl dad?
3.
I love girl dads. I think they're going to, honestly, I wrote a post about this a couple of weeks ago. They are going to change the equality structure in this industry. Girl dads will do it because girl dads want to make a better world for what they see going on around them.
Mhm.
For their daughters. I'm not saying boy dads don't, but girl dads really focus on that. And I love girl dads. So I can't remember my point. Where I was going with that.
Well,
Oh yeah. But men have been very, very supportive and complimentary. You know, it's not a gender thing, I think, but I think it's more of a, you know, hey, it's two smart people getting together and they happen to be women. That's even better.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. You know, obviously, I am a girl dad. I have 3 daughters, thus the bald head. Like between cybersecurity and 3 daughters, me having hair on the top of my head was basically a non-existent entity. But one of my daughters is in cybersecurity, and I've watched how it's sometimes been a struggle because it's hard to break in the field in the first place, and it definitely, outside looking in, looks like it's harder for women to do so. It's harder for minorities to do so because there is, for lack of more eloquent terms, a financial gap to get into the field. Like you have to have some money or go into debt to get in here. And that's a barrier for a lot of folks.
I agree. I think there are ways to get in, but perhaps not so much now. Or you know what? Let me change my thought on that. A few years ago, I think it was tougher to get in. Now I think it's impossible to get into cybersecurity. However, you've got this AI world that has just opened up, and who's better at AI than these younger people? It's not the old stodgers like me, you know, the Gen X's, right? We have to learn it and go, what? It's the young folks coming in. And so there's so much opportunity now. But I would say, and this is what I picked up from Kayla, like when I met her, was no excuses. You know, there's no reason for anyone not to become successful in cybersecurity. There's none in this industry. There's absolutely none. It doesn't matter what gender you are, whoever you are, just there's no, you know, just go for it and do it. Make it happen.
Yeah, there are so many resources to upskill yourself, whether that's, you know, going traditional education or just buckling down and just learning stuff and breaking things. It is a field that you will go as far as you want yourself to go and you push yourself to.
Yeah, and it's all about the people. It's all about, you know, who you meet, who you talk to. And that's a struggle for a lot of cybersecurity people because we're introverts. And the last thing we want to do is go to a happy hour and talk to people. But it's really important to do that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, for building the business as well, having to go and be comfortable talking about yourself, which we mentioned before, is something that's really hard for some of us. It is. And to be like, hey, I've built this thing, blood, sweat, and tears have been poured into it. And then to kind of be vulnerable to any criticisms or feedback of any kind and have someone potentially say, oh, or have just a different reaction to what you're expecting. You have to be able to put yourself out there. And that can be a bit of a challenge too.
Yeah.
Like
and especially if coming from being a CISO, where you're catered to and everybody wants to throw dinners at you and gifts and reaches out to you, to go from that to starting your own company is a big ego hit. It's very humbling.
That's a good point. Like, how many things have you been disinvited to, Olivia?
A lot. That may not be because of the vendor aspect, but that could be my my voice, but what I say.
I mean, who are you talking to? Like, my entire brand is just torching people left and right.
I love it.
Yeah, it's been I will say that that's really interesting because the way like what we're doing, Josh, is like we're coming at this from the unsexy side of security, which if people like when they've listened to this, the GRC pathway is very unsexy. But what we're doing with it is we've had this proprietary framework that we've come up and put together, and we're mapping it to all of the standards that you see out there: NIST, AI. You have like the OWASP top 10, LLMs, agentic AI. All the things that we've talked about before on here. We've taken this proprietary formula, magic, whatever you want to call it, and sprinkled it with these standards where we are getting into the technical pieces of the implementation. So it's kind of like that pipeline of like the really unsexy stuff, so you can do the really cool stuff quickly.
Yeah. Right the first time.
Yeah, that's thank you for adding that. And the part that I think that we've talked about before on here is that people want to move really quickly, but they're doing it in this maybe insecure, rushed manner, and then having to loop back and fix things, and that slows them down even more. And we're trying to stop that. We don't want to be like a cog just in a wheel that just keeps going back and forth. We want people to do things correctly the first time.
Because we know what it's like. We've seen stuff fail. But we haven't been able to do much about it. Sometimes as a CISO, you don't really have a voice often within the company. So it's really nice to be able to help companies that want the help.
So let's dive into that a little bit. Obviously you do advisory stuff, and your primary point of contact is probably going to be a CISO or CISO in an organization. But increasingly, we're seeing that a lot of organizations, the AI stuff doesn't belong to the CISO, and they're not finding out about it till, well after it's into production.
Yeah.
So how does that play into this kind of new emerging market?
So I like to say the CISO doesn't find out about it unless they're balled up in a ball crying in the corner of their office. That's when they find out about it. I would say, though, our target market really isn't CISOs per se, because we're on the beginning point of the whole AI arc. So our target customers are really any executives, data officers, anybody who's been in charge of the AI initiatives, CTO, CIO. It's not necessarily the CISO unless they've been specifically given that responsibility to own it from the very beginning.
So who do you think should own AI?
Who do I think should own AI? I think one person should own AI. They should create a committee. They should invite the CISO from day one and have them bring a bag and a suitcase and have them move in. So they're in every single meeting. That one person I mentioned should be somebody who has the ear of all the executives, is well respected, and gets stuff done. So that can be a different person in any organization. One of our clients is effectively the CISO, and she owns it, but she took it on. She wanted it. But in most cases, it can be anyone.
Yeah. I feel like that is the biggest question, Josh, right now that companies are facing is who should own it. And it does tend to go to like a CIO or a CTO in the first instance because it's technology related. But if that leader isn't, to Olivia's point, like strong with the connections within the company, isn't a good influencer internally, they're going to be sidestepped. They're going to end up, putting up a program together that's going to flail, not fail, but flail, and end up causing more rework. So in companies that I've been in, I would say like one of the strongest people that I knew that brought everyone together was general counsel.
Mm.
You know, they knew the business requirements. They were in all the executive meetings. They were the right hand, or well, I guess left hand to the CEO if your CFO is the right. They understood the laws and regulations that were coming, but they were an influencer with everybody respected this person.
Yes.
And then they took charge of the security steering committee. So it's like a natural thing it would be to bring in that AI piece as well. So, you know, it could look different in every company, but there needs to be one person.
Yeah. And you're right. Like, they need to be respected and have the ear of everybody. And there's always one person who's like that. And they can be even just a manager level. I mean, they don't need to be an executive, but there's always one person who everyone likes and listens to and has the ear of executives. That's the person you should pick to lead AI.
So I've been kind of exploring this topic as well. And I'm one of those people that I think the business process owner is ideally suited because they care about the input and the output, and they can talk to all the other people, the CIO, the CSO, legal, to make sure that the machinery that makes the sausage does what it's supposed to do. But ultimately, they're the ones that are using the output from whatever this AI thing is. So they have the most vested interest into that product.
They typically, though, are not the ones who are charismatic and can get people together. So if that person owns it, they should find that one person to lead it for them.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much of this is people and personality based rather than pure, here's the blueprint, go do the thing.
Very much so. And that's why everybody says, and what we say is, this is not a technology rollout per se. This is an organizational, cultural, people rollout. The processes and the technology really just underpin it all. But if you don't have your people on board, it is not going to work. They will flail, like Kayla says. That's a nicer way of putting it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, like the hardest thing that we've encountered so far has been the people piece. It's been all the keys. So one of the things that we do, as with anybody who comes into a company, it's like we talk to all of the key players, and they all have very different interpretations of what AI at their company needs to be and how to roll it out, or if they're even on board with it. Like Josh, you've had that experience where any of your security projects, let's forget AI for a second. Let's just go back 5 years, where you've been trying to roll out an initiative globally or company wide, and there's one detractor, and that one detractor just stymies your progress across the board. And it's that people thing. You have to build the relationship, make some compromises and awareness and things like that. So it's a new technology. It's a new shiny object right now, just like, cloud security was 12, 15 years ago. And it's just getting through that awareness and people piece to change the culture, to get people comfortable in order to be successful.
So for both of you, what has been the hardest piece to get past culturally to roll out AI in a way that's safe, sane, and doesn't get anybody arrested?
So set realistic expectations. Define your metrics accordingly. It's not about the number of people using AI. It's the output from 3 people who are using AI extensively, per se. It's not 100 people at your company. But set expectations, especially with your CEO, because they are the ones who are coming in guns blazing, going, we are going to be AI first tomorrow. And I've heard this so many times. And meanwhile, again, the CISO is in a ball in a corner crying. I mean, because this is like, how the hell? and then employees go wild. So it's set expectations realistically, both executive level and with your employees. If it is your company mandate that everyone should be using AI, then you need to figure out what exactly that means for those people, because people have very different understandings of what using AI means. Some may see it as just using the chat box. Some may see it as using code and creating these, open claw agents. I mean, right? So set very clear set expectations as to what you expect from your employees, and different groups are going to have different expectations. Software engineers are going to have very different expectations than somebody in HR. But HR should have expectations as well to start leveraging AI to do common tasks and to even review resumes. I hate saying that because I hate the idea that AI is reviewing resumes, but to do tests like that for the company. So set the expectations at all levels, measure it, write it out, say by this point next year, we expect this % of your work or your workday or employees, whatever you want to measure by, to be effectively using AI to show a demonstrated ROI, and circulate that. And finally, make it fun. AI is so much friggin' fun. Like every morning for half an hour, I do crazy stuff on, and it's like everything I throw at it, it just does fun stuff. Like this morning, I wish I could share it. This morning, with Gemini, I did an image of Kayla and I as these bubble heads with soccer jerseys on. I mean, it's just it's just fun. So teach your employees that it's fun. It's not necessarily going to replace them. You have to address that as an executive. You have to have a plan. Is it going to start replacing your employees? Because you need to get started now thinking about that. And then give them the training to be successful. Many companies just say, go learn it yourself and go figure it out. And that's where shadow AI comes into play.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting you mentioned the AI, the HR piece, Olivia, because I was talking to someone yesterday who works in it's like a training and development function in HR within a nonprofit organization, and she and this woman who works for her, who's just a few years out of college, they were brainstorming in office together, whiteboarding things. She took a picture of it and was like, "Oh, great! I'm just going to upload this into our corporate Claude and have it organize our thoughts for us and see if we missed anything." And that newer employee said, "We can't do that. That's cheating." And she was like, no, wait a second. So like she had to go back and say, wait a second, like we have come up with these ideas on our own. We are just now leveraging AI to, fill in the blanks, organize our thoughts a bit for us, and help us develop like a roadmap to implementing our original ideas. But this employee was, a few years out of school, had always been taught you can't use AI in college, university, because that's cheating.
Wow.
And she was like, I never knew I could use it this way before. And she had this like, yeah, exactly. Like that epiphany moment of like, oh, I can use it for good and, and help me operationalize and make me better off of my original ideas. And we just had this really it was like a 45-minute conversation yesterday about how, in their function, the two of them together are now able to deliver more value. Off of the back of that, and just I don't know if it's like because of universities and that mentality of, oh, it's you're using it, you're cheating, but there's like a whole maybe I don't want to say generation, but I guess like people younger than us that have been brought up on.
And there are many of them.
Yes, more and more every day. But that because of COVID and then the release of the public release of these AI chatbots and their capabilities, that it's a bad thing to use it. So that we need to train each other and be better at it and have clear expectations is extremely important now. Yeah.
Young grasshopper who works there needs to understand there's no such thing as cheating when it comes to being successful in the workplace. I said it
I mean, universities are finally getting on the boat,
Mhm.
and they're saying,
Sure.
yes, you can use AI to help you write your papers and do these things, but it has to be your original work going in, and you have to appropriately attribute that you used these AI things, and also you have to go back and reread to make sure it's actually right.
That's the kicker.
So
That's
Josh,
how you cheat, but don't get caught. Is you go through and you read it before and edit it heavily before it goes in.
Josh, like, because you're a professor, are you seeing that? Like, are you seeing a lot of like those mistakes, like, no one going back and reading it and seeing the output or the same output put across multiple students?
I've seen that. I've seen, the students who are doing it right, and look in their citations and they're like, I used OpenAI, LMM, blah, 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 to do this thing or that thing.
Yeah.
I use Grammarly to, help clear up my language because I write like a toddler. But I've also seen students who clearly just dumped it into a GPT of some sort and didn't give it the context, didn't tell it where to look, didn't tell it what a good source was. And you're getting things that are just completely and utterly wrong or have nothing to do with the thing that they're actually supposed to be talking about because they didn't tell it it's the, thing that's this, not the thing that's this.
Yeah.
Because words have multiple meanings in the English language.
I honestly think, and I just heard that Kayla said you are a professor as well. So I probably should not say this, but it's coming out of my mouth and I can't stop it. And that is that I think universities and colleges are going to go away. I think they're done. I think they're a dying breed. I'm very thankful that my eldest is 15. And so we have a few years to decide if she even should go to college. I think, and my dad was a college professor. So, so I have a soft spot in my heart for professors and colleges. But with the way things are going, I don't personally think it makes sense for someone to go to a 4-year degree college, pay all that money, and even worse, stay on for MBA and a PhD, unless they were going into research and academia. Then it makes sense. But I don't think it makes sense anymore. And I think we're going to start seeing that. I think we're going to start seeing more people going to vocational schools, learning AI, practical ways of implementing it, and they're going to start coming into the workplace and making real changes.
So I won't name universities, but I know of at least one university that is trudging down the path of replacing most of their faculty with AI for grading, for all the other stuff, and really having one academic overseeing a bunch of AI professors to make sure that they're doing it right.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised.
Kayla and I have talked about it several times. As someone who teaches at a university and not like a community college university, I teach at Tulane. I'm a big proponent that you should not go get a undergraduate degree or take student loans out unless someone else is paying for it.
Amen. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. And, when we think about the path, like Olivia, you took a very different path into security. So did I. So like every story is very, very different. So I think like now with exactly like what you said, like going into like a vocational school or like, do you remember like the technical school? Like up here in New England, it was called Catherine Gibbs. And like my mom went and learned how to do like help desk stuff to move into IT back when I think I was like under 10 when she did that. So, do you think there's going to be a new market for in that, technical school umbrella for these AI disciplines and what that change could be ushering in?
Oh, Kayla, that's our next business.
I didn't know that, everybody, but hey.
Can we believe that from the... No, but in all honesty, that's why I'm saying if you're young right now coming out of school, you may be very depressed. about the job market, and fairly so. However, I really want to emphasize this is probably one of the best times ever for younger people to get into any kind of work, but especially cybersecurity. Learn AI. And I think we mentioned earlier, in colleges, they're like with Young Grasshopper you were mentioning, where they're taught that AI is bad. Well, you've got to completely change your vision on that. It doesn't matter if you agree with all the power and water and environmental impacts. If you want a job in corporate America, you've got to get over whatever hurdle you have about AI, because it is not stopping. It is here to stay, and it's just going to get more and more ingrained. So you can go be an artist, and that's completely fine, and go live like on a commune somewhere if that's what you want to do. However, if you want to live in a house and make money and work at a corporate job, you don't have a choice. You really don't.
I think one of the key caveats here is that it's not a matter of if you use AI or not. It's now really, are you using the right version of AI that is safe for your organization? So using the example of, as you put it, Young Grasshopper, taking that and putting it into my corporate Claude that has zero data retention, no training by the model owner, is different than me going and dropping that into the free ChatGPT account that they have, that they're absolutely training on all the data you're putting in.
Yeah.
And that's where the true switch between what is bad versus what is good, because it's not AI is bad, it's your use of this AI in this way is potentially bad.
Yeah.
That's the mindset they should get versus AI is bad. And then they will start thinking like true cybersecurity people, where you get paranoid about everything and you don't sleep.
Yeah.
What's sleep?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But it's interesting, like what you just said, Josh, and everything, because we talk about like the AI governance piece. There's a lot of different aspects of that. And like Olivia mentioned, a client that we have that they were like, oh yeah, we're doing everything right. We have the acceptable use and the policies, and we've done like rudimentary training, and we've got an AI committee. We're doing everything right. Look, here are a list of use cases that we've approved. They have approved tech, but also use cases. Come to find out, there was a ton of shadow AI they had no idea about.
Yep.
So then, you can think you're doing everything correctly, and you're missing quite a bit. So is there like a checklist or anything, Olivia, that you think that, people could take away today to go back and say, are we doing this correctly? Have we ticked the boxes? Is there maybe 4 or 5 things you think off the top of your head? Not to put you on the spot.
Well, I think the one thing that you just mentioned is the first thing, right? Is it's not what you have documented and telling everybody. It's really what's happening in real life. And I know that we did a very creative way, and you spent an entire weekend learning about this industry and random applications. But figure out what you have. And there's a variety of ways and tools that you can use to do that. But dig into your logs and your what's it called? DPSM and all this stuff. Dig into it and find out what's truly happening at your organization, because it will surprise you. Second thing is anoint that person to own it, right? And build that committee, and make sure you invite the CISO, please, before it's too late.
Yeah.
In fact, I was at HumanX back in April, and they had all these big wigs, like big time CTOs and CISOs on stage, big time. And every single one of them said, we were brought in at the very beginning from the very first meeting. Every single one of them said that. Meanwhile, all the vendors are downstairs. There were only 2 vendors out of like at least 100. maybe 150 who even said the word cybersecurity, who even cared about that. So that's the second thing. The third thing is get that executive buy-in. What is the manifesto? What are we doing? Are we becoming an AI first company? That's friggin' awesome. Let's not do what Block did and all these other, Meta and all those who fired half the people. Let's look at this and go, okay, we want to become AI first. How do we do that? And what's more important is how do we not make people start getting very scared and nervous about their jobs? Because they're going to stop working and they're going to try to leave. It's as simple as that. We've seen way too much media out there. And only after you've done all that, and of course, bring Williams Rose in. Well, it's like 3A or 3B. And then once you do all that, then look at your policies and make them realistic and workable and that they can actually work in real life, because policies often sit on the shelf. With AI, you've got to set it forth. I mean, one of our clients had to do a policy, emergency policy, just on recording meetings and transcriptions, because people were going haywire at the company, just using anything. So they had legal really drove the fact they needed a policy that everybody would read. And somebody wrote here, having a holistic view of your org is important. Agree. Oh, you agreed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Not many times people agree with me, so that's good. But just be realistic about it and have a heart, because this is, like we're saying earlier, this is a cultural people rollout. And have a heart and have a brain about it. And
like the Wizard of Oz.
Like the Wizard of Oz. Yes. Be the Dorothy. Yeah. Yeah. It's so much fun.
I think one of the things that you highlighted really well was that people are going to use AI.
Yes.
Like, you can lock down your entire organization, block every AI thing, and someone's going to pull out one of these, and they're going to use AI on their personal device. And at that point, you have zero control over anything.
Right.
So
unless you have MDM on that device, or you own it, but yeah.
But then they could take out their personal device and still use it.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
Hop on their personal laptop, whatever, particularly people who work from home, when they can have as many devices there that they want.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately, if you make it so hard that they can't use it, they're going to find ways around it.
Absolutely.
We've seen it over and over again throughout the history of cybersecurity. When you make security hard, people will find the path around it that will make their job easier. So you're kind of and everybody right now is at the inflection point of, do I embrace AI and try to shape the way the river is going, or do I try to build a dam and the river diverts around it anyway?
Yep. You're either going to be, let me put it very directly and bluntly. If you're on the fence, you need to choose a side, and you can go on the winning side, or you could go on the losing side. The winning side is very clear nowadays.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress this enough, especially with the younger people on this call, and especially the younger women. I talk to a lot of young women every week, and most of them have never touched AI aside from using GPT for like the chat box part of it. That's it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Because this is going to run ahead of you. And what's more, AI is replacing jobs that do tend historically be owned by women. Marketing, HR, finance to some degree. These are women heavy jobs, and AI is going to replace you if you do not learn it. I'm telling you now. So you got two sides of the fence, and you got to go on either side. And you may not like me for saying this, but you can either be a winner or a loser in this, and better be a winner and go for it, and just learn to love it and apply it enthusiastically to your job, because your company will retain you if you know how to build agents, if you know how to put AI in the business sense, in business processes, improve things, and what's most importantly, make the company money. The ROI.
So, already mentioned, I'm a girl dad. And one of the things that I have heard repeatedly through my daughters and their friend group, and for context, their ages 20 to 25, so they're that prime college age student, is they absolutely hate AI.
Whoa.
They think that it is soulless, that it is stealing art, and that it is stealing creativity, that it is the end of civilization. How do we reach those folks?
Well, I can tell you pretty easily, actually, because I'm the same way in my personal life. I do not like AI in my personal life. I don't like it. Keep it far away from me. My oldest daughter, she wants to be an artist. That's terrifying, right? She's going to be living with me forever. That's how I look at it in my basement because of AI. I don't like AI. I never have from day one. That's my personal life. That's like your daughters and their friends. You've got to split up how you look at AI professionally and personally. If you want to go live in a commune somewhere and be an artist, and that makes you happy, that's great. You don't need to get it in with AI on a professional level. But if you do want to go, live in a house and make money and work in corporate America, you're going to have to embrace it and learn to love it. So separate the two. And I do that every day. I hate AI friggin' chat boxes that come up when like, hey, do you want to ask a question? I'm an AI. I'm like, stop. I hate it.
Yeah.
And
do you hate it because it's bad AI? It's a bad implementation, or do you hate it just because you want to talk to a person?
I hate the concept. I hate the concept of it. I hate what's beneath the layers of that. I mean, people's jobs have been lost because they've been replaced. I hate that it's a imperfect science right now, that it doesn't work half the time. And you still need to get routed to a human, which defeats the whole point. I don't like it. So my advice or the remedy for anybody listening and for your daughters is split your personal and professional. You are welcome to not like AI in your personal life and think it's soulless. Absolutely, I do. But professionally, I love it. I'm enthusiastic about it. I think it's the most awesome thing ever.
Yeah, and I think, but that one of the things I think that's underpinning that though is like when we've done it with work, like we're asking the questions of like, what does your data look like that's feeding that chatbot? Because I mean, how many conversations have we had, Olivia, where we're like, what's your data governance? And they go, whoa, what? and then we start talking about, like the data lineage and the, they're unclassified and classified data, discovered and undiscovered. There's a lot of things that go into making AI shit. Like, let's just be honest. Like, and a lot of that starts with the data that they're using to funnel into these chatbots, and they're using it. I mean, even in like data and research. And what we're seeing is that, like, we had a conversation last week at the CISO at a big global company, and I said data governance. I'm like, oh, do you have data governance? Do you have like a DSPM tool? And he just went, oh shit. Like, and he just looked at us, he was like, that's such a great point. And we need to think about data protection once we know, and it like snowballed into a bigger conversation because it wasn't even a thought at that time. It was more like, I've spent all this money on AI. I don't know what's happening with it. Never taking into consideration what's feeding that AI pipeline in the back end, which leads to the shit in, shit out and the quality problems that we're seeing. So when we talk about AI and AI governance, it's not like one thing. It's everything that leads into it. And that is where you get your quality. That's where you get something that's worth, using and relying on. And it's not a science right now, like, perfect science. It's moving in that direction, but there's so much pre-work that hardly anyone's done.
That's very true. Even just using the LLMs yourself. I mean, if you don't have everything cleared up and in good shape, I mean, what you're going to get is, I didn't know we could swear.
Oh, sorry. I'm just riled up.
You
Sorry.
Shit back. I love it.
So one of the interesting points I think that we're at right now is knowing what's producing and using data, because it's not clear cut anymore. Before I would know if it came from a service account, it was, machine something. But now we have all these agentic tools that are using the account of the person creating the agentic tool.
Yeah.
So if I build something in Gemini and build a gem, that's running under me and my permissions. From all logging perspective, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I might be able to tell that that's AI, but because it's happening at machine speed, and there's no way Josh and his old self with his glasses is going to be able to do 1,000 transactions in under a minute.
Yeah.
But the log says it was me. It doesn't say that it was the AI that was doing that. So now we have not only a data provenance issue, but now we also have an identity issue later on top of it.
Looking at the comments, Nana, everything Kayla said about AI governance is outstanding and precise.
Guys, this has been like such a good day for me. Like this has been, thank you.
But I love John Davis has a good comment versus that one. How do we govern vibe coding, which is a great topic. And yes, I'm in love too. I discovered Lovable about a month and a half ago, and I was just sending Kayla all these messages going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was so excited about it. It is the most amazing thing. But let me know what I missed, Kayla. So you don't want to govern it, restrict it from that perspective. If your company is for vibe coding, it's creative, it's fun. I know of a company that did a ton, and they're very successful with their engineering and cybersecurity teams. So you want to first know what's being used. You want to pick one platform. There's many out there. Or pick two, whatever works for you, and govern those and say, these are the ones we're using, and here are the security safeguards, and this is what you need, the controls, and this is what you need to have in place. Don't be going off and using these other ones. Did I miss anything, Kayla?
I'd say like the controls piece is really important. And what we actually, Josh and I were on a call this morning with like a vendor talking to them about some of the security tools that they're building. And you want to have logging and monitoring. You want to have single sign-on, MFA, like all of like the cybersecurity basics that we've been talking about forever, like the CIS 18. You need to have all of that stuff in place. And if you can't, if your tool is a complete black box and you're buying like a corporate subscription to that, start adding in some security addendum requirements, start adding in fines and fees if things go wrong, for like all the standard stuff that we've been preaching about in cybersecurity for such a long time. Because I think you hit the nail on the head. We don't want to if your mandate is to use tools for vibe coding, and that's okay, don't stymie that production, because then you're going to get people who are going to circumvent, and that's where that's a huge risk for us. So, but Josh, have you done any of that stuff? Have you done vibe coding?
Yeah, of course I've done vibe coding. I'm a nerd.
I think it's so much fun. It's insane.
I've done vibe coding. I've done stuff, and I've gone back and looked at it and went, all right, this works. It's not good code. It's not clean code. It's going to cost me a lot more money in the long run because it's making 6 call outs outside of my environment.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, but it's absolutely wonderful to get proof of concepts. Like, this is what I want the thing to do. And then give it to someone who's a legitimate coder and say, okay, now make this the right way. This is what I want. This is how it should work. Now make it the right way.
Yeah. And like the vulnerability piece is huge too. There was just a paper that came out. I forget who it was, but they just put a paper out saying how they've actually found nation states that have gone in and poisoned some of this like vibe coding these platforms, and there's a lot of vulnerabilities that have been kind of stuck in. Prompt injection is a huge risk that people haven't quite figured out how to mitigate. But that's where the human in the loop and looking at your output and being at that back end of it to then cycle through again, like the CI/CD pipeline, but make it AI.
Well, see, and that's one of the problems with that is if you're only looking at the output, you're not seeing that the stuff in between on how you're getting the output is all right.
Right, it's coming back at the end. That's a good point. Yeah, like you want to be able to get to in the middle and see, like, have not a stopping point, but like a checkpoint, if you will, or guardrails. Yeah,
which is the magic. But that's the magic of vibe coding: is you put something in and it spits something out. That's the magic.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's the appeal of it for people who don't, dare I say, care so much about cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Those pesky controls. Well, we don't need those.
Yeah, security slows you down, right?
Oh, absolutely. We love it. That's our job.
Yeah. So we are actually running out of time, Olivia. So what we do is, like, at the end, we tend to ask us a couple questions that we want people to be able to take away information with. So if you could fix one thing about the cybersecurity or AI industry overnight, what would it be?
Fix one thing. The marketing. The marketing has gone haywire for products and services and promising things that aren't realistic, and then you look under the hood and it's not even in place. Marketing has always been a problem, I think, in cybersecurity.
I think marketing's always been a problem just in general of overpromise, underdeliver.
Yeah.
So the other question that we ask everyone is, if there was something in IT, cybersecurity, AI that people are doing right now that you wish they would stop doing immediately because it's completely worthless?
I would say, instead of the term worthless, I would say will be a massive problem for you in court. And I see this a lot in the younger generation, where they love to link everything together, so their personal and professional lives. They like to do that. That's like a very millennial thing to do. And that's why Gen X, we cannot understand this. Because I'm
a millennial. Easy. Gen Z. Don't blame me.
But like, for example, your Mac, right? How you have your personal iPhone linked up to that, and although your messages are coming in, what you're doing at 2:30 on a Saturday morning, that's your business. But it becomes the company's business because they own your laptop. And they can pull it anytime, they can see it anytime, they can produce it in a court at any time. So one word of advice one thing I would say is keep it separate, especially nowadays. I know it's very tempting to combine everything together, but you are not your job, and your job is not you. And I promise you, and by saying this, your imposter syndrome issues will dramatically fall and be reduced if you stop merging your professional and personal lives together. Because if somebody says something to you at work saying, well, you didn't really research this too well, if you combine your personal life with your job, that's going to affect you personally. However, you can say that to me all day long. I will say, well, I'm still going to go to sleep tonight, and I will fix it, and it will never happen again, and I'll forget about it. See the difference?
Yeah. I love that. Well, I think that's a great way to end this episode of Criticality Live. So huge thanks to our guest, Olivia Rose, and an even bigger thanks to you for hanging out with us and being a part of our growing community of leaders who are done with the buzzwords and are ready for some real conversations. If you got value out of today's episode, follow us, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop us a review here on LinkedIn, Spotify, or on our on-demand YouTube channel. And of course, a huge shout out to our sponsor, Secure Nation, for powering our conversation today. They're helping organizations defend smarter, respond faster, and make cybersecurity something that actually works. So go check them out. This has been Criticality Live, where we cut through the noise and get to what really matters. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.